Hey everyone, this is Walter, and I'm finally back here with more content from Reddit. Today we'll be covering posts and maybe stories about nice guys, men who always talk about how nice they are, even when it seems questionable. Let's just begin with nice guys from Reddit. These posts come to us from Reddit Nice Guys. This is one of the many reasons we stop trying to chase you, women. We do something nice, it's creepy, or whatever you want to label it, or ultimately get us cancelled just because we wanted to show kindness. SMH, make it make sense. Somehow I doubt it's that easy to get cancelled for being creepy. Lucas had to threaten to sue Starbucks and call the news before most people noticed him, and he used to leave literal free candy signs around Olympia. Holy shit, this next one might take the entire video. Does anyone remember a nice guy post I covered from a woman's previous boss where he was saying he couldn't accept her friend request in like way too many words? I guess we have a part 2 5 months later. Here's the OP story. He sent an apology for my first post, and I told him that I would not forgive him unless he sent his now ex-wife all the BS he sent me. He said he couldn't, so I told him not to contact me again. I didn't think he'd actually do it. I just figured it would be a wake-up call for him, and at worst it would be something she could use against him in divorce court or something. Several months later he sends me this. This is an email sent to his ex-wife that he CC'd me in. Oh, this is going to be special, isn't it? Dear ex-wife, I am gone. It can't be changed now, but clearly you are not feeling closure, as you are still trying to get me back. I wanted to be kind and gentle. I was told that I need to share more of my frustrations and why I can't ever go back. So here it is. On Halloween night, I won Best Costume at local brewery costume party. It wasn't my first win in town, and just another skill-based accolade to add to my long list of awards. The Army encourages soldiers to keep an I Love Me book of awards and citations. Over the years, mine has grown to require 4 4-inch thick, 3-ring binders to contain them all. But no matter how many times I go places, and how many times I win contests and awards, nobody ever invited me to join them anywhere. Nor calls or texts me later to reach out in any way. I would love to be invited to join a bowling team, or hang out with a group of friends. Is this guy going to put winning the costume contest on his resume or something? He seems a bit overly proud of everything he does. This isn't just here, it's everywhere I've ever lived, and it's been within our marriage as well. I can show you my accomplishments as a wildlife pest control specialist, and you still didn't trust my opinion on mice. I can show you my awards as a firefighter/EMT and combat lifesaver. But do you still don't trust my medical assessments of minor injury and illness? Despite a long list of accomplishments proving my capabilities, you claim because I do things differently than you do, my method must be wrong. For example, I do dishes and laundry differently than you. Though they are just as clean, you chastise me for doing them wrong. Then you complain that I don't help enough. I don't help because you criticize how I help. I used to sit at home dreading your arrival, because if I did try to do chores, you would accuse me of doing them wrong, and if I didn't do them, you would accuse me of being lazy. Never mind that I may have spent the day destroying my muscles in hard physical labor under a house in a hazmat suit and single-handedly paying all the critical bills. I know I haven't been a perfectly faithful man. My eyes wander. They wander because I know in my heart and mind and even my subconscious that I'm with the wrong woman. Our relationship just doesn't feel right. It's forced. It's uncomfortable. I haven't gotten excited thinking about you since 2007. It's not your fault. It just is. Our relationship is transactional, and for me the price is too high for what I've been getting. Okay, so the ones in blue are other women who are not OP. Let's talk about the wandering eyes over just the last year. Let's start with Other Woman 1. You know all about Other Woman 1. After all, she's the daughter of a friend of yours. Oh god, this is gonna get painful. Yeah, he sent this to the wife and to the OP. I noticed how pretty she was the first time I saw her working at the bowling alley, and immediately wrote her off as out of my league. I still think that. You already know about how she was unable to do the advertising job she agreed to do for me. I treated our business relationship as 100% professional. She is the one who kept asking me personal questions. Eventually, she stopped communicating. I have to assume she didn't like some of my answers. I did have a crush on her, but I never told her. When I told her I was expanding into our state, she said, "I've heard people in state are chill. Maybe you'll make more friends there." That was the last time I had any conversation with Other Woman 1. Here in town, I met several attractive women. I have been looking for any indication of interest from them, but it's not forthcoming. I have mistaken kindness, general playfulness, and professional interest for personal interest. For example, Other Woman 2, who works for the Town Chamber of Commerce, mentioned how nice I looked in my formal wear, and said she'd like to see me in red instead of my usual camouflage. I thought she was being flirtatious. I bought a red outfit just for her. I tried to flirt back, but that didn't lead anywhere, and when I made a very obvious attempt to ask her out, she never responded. Acted as if she hadn't heard. Other worker 3 was a co-worker of blank at cafe. She would show off her muscles and physique, even went out of her way once to chase me down to ask if she had seen me at the Walgreens the day before. But when I would try to make a flirtatious comment or suggest we get together, she would go silent. Other woman 4 is president of the Downtown Association. She has commented on my physical strength and squeezed my biceps. Apparently not a sign of attraction. Just curiosity, because when I asked her out, she didn't even respond. Now I don't go to the meetings anymore because I think it would be awkward. Other woman 5 is the office manager of a landscaping company in other town that regularly attends chamber events. We have a good conversation each time. She flips her hair a lot, and laughs every time I make a joke about her argumentative relationship with her boss, even when they aren't very funny. She always responds right away when I email her about upcoming events. But she has never been the first to reach out, and she never goes into personal topics, so I'm inclined to think it's just being friendly. The OP says this guy is 48 plus in the original post from 5 months ago. I can't believe how confused he is by basic human interactions. I mean, maybe he's been married for a long time and just trying to get back into the game, but I still find it kinda ridiculous. Other woman 6 at Home Depot, who always wears a stocking cap and works in the garden section. I jokingly call her the garden gnome, is the one I managed to get to actually go out for a one-on-one. A few weeks ago we had a coffee date. She is friendly but has exhibited no further interest. I really appreciated her willingness to meet me for a date, but she's been cold ever since. She'll answer questions if I ask her, but she doesn't ask any of me, and she's very slow to respond. I still see her professionally at Home Depot. She is polite but doesn't engage. Since I don't actively look for her anymore, I only see her every 3 weeks or so. I keep those encounters brief and professional. Other woman 7, also at the Home Depot at the customer service desk, has called me her favorite troublemaker. She is cute and will engage in flirtatious banter. I've asked her out twice to events, but she is either not interested or so incredibly shy that she doesn't believe I'm being genuine. I see her every week because I return supplies I haven't used, and she usually operated the return desk. I haven't given up on her yet, but the signals are unclear. He returns things to Home Depot every single week? Does sound like a troublemaker. Also sounds like he goes there to hit on the employees, which is just so weird to me. Other woman 8 was a visitor from blank of Scandinavian descent. She danced with me at karaoke after I saw her at the Scandinavian festival and invited me to go to her hotel room afterward. We sat and talked about our past relationships all night. I think she wanted me to have sex with her, but I couldn't do it. 1, it didn't feel right. 2, her hotel was the same hostel that OP lives in. 3, I know you were actively looking for a local marriage counselor at that time, and Other woman 8 is a professional marriage counselor in the local area to town. 4, I had just seen OP at the festival with another friend a few hours before, and 5, OP's friends saw us together at karaoke. Everything about that encounter was just too coincidental to feel comfortable. I haven't heard from her since. One big benefit of this encounter was that I did get 5 solid consecutive hours of discussing my failing marriage with a professional marriage counselor without having to pay the $150 an hour they usually charged. If you recall, that was about the same time I stopped coming home for the weekends. Part of the reason was that I finally got some useful feedback. Other woman 9 I met originally back in January at a ribbon cutting event and then forgot all about her. Then, fully masked on Halloween, I somehow inspired her to ask me out on a date via text the next morning. Apparently, I'm more attractive if you can't see my face. I escorted her to another party that night, but I didn't stay because it was a Tuesday night and I had work the next morning. On the way, I saw OP's friend again, and at the party at bar, blank was there. Even though I was fully masked and costumed and thus unrecognizable, I just couldn't shake the feeling that every time since really falling for OP, when I have an opportunity with another woman, blank or one of her friends is there to remind me that it's the wrong situation. In any case, that weekend we went out for pizza, and the next day we went on a hike. I even got a kiss goodnight. I had a great conversation with her, and we invented a new word together. Zenergy, the ability to accept life's challenges and keep positive about the future. But she rejected me over my observational skills. I have a tendency to scan my surroundings constantly. You have noticed this when I drive, and it bothers you too. In the Army, we call it situational awareness. Other woman 9 called it creepy and gross. My situational awareness has kept me out of many dangerous circumstances. from highway accidents to combat ambushes. I will not apologize for it nor attempt to stop it. People close to me should appreciate it for the safety and security it provides. Nico noticed it too, but as a veteran of the Marine Corps, she was appreciative. I haven't even tried to contact Other Woman 9 again, nor has she reached out to me. God, I mean, if he has PTSD or something, I get it, but you have to kind of try to act normal when you're not in a combat zone. I could see this being annoying, and he's just trying to say, no, I'm right, and actually it's good. And now we finally get to him talking about the OP, the main subject here. OP, whom we've discussed before, is the most attractive of all. I was excited to learn everything I have learned about her. I can't remember the last time a woman could capture my attention so completely that even my situational awareness was stifled when she was around. Enough that I had to consciously remember to keep looking for danger. OP captured me that way. I think I was intimidating to OP, and not in a good way, so I have given up. I am trying to patch my broken heart. It has been a month since the last awkward communication, and June was the last time I had a positive interaction with her. 5 months and I still can't get her out of my head. In her last communication, she told me not to even say hello if I saw her around town, and then blocked me. I'm no longer depressed about her romantic rejection, but I am about her request for no contact. I still miss her terribly. I think she is a kind person. She is probably kind to everyone. I so rarely experience kindness, especially from attractive women, that I made assumptions that were incorrect. It is good to see that he figured this out and blamed himself at least. Kevin from the other story I've been covering is much younger, but finds it impossible to find any fault in himself. I regret that my misconceptions of romantic interest were projected onto her. I still know very little about her, her past experiences, her personal preferences, etc. I wanted to know all about her, but every time I asked a probing question, she would go silent for a few days. Professionally, I was very impressed by her, and I still expect her to achieve great things. I wanted to be her biggest cheerleader and her safety net. I think I missed that chance. I really am seeking my best friend and partner, and no one else in this community has fit that desire. Only OP. None of the others have even really come close. Back in June, I invited OP to attend an event at a museum. Then we went to trivia together, but played on different teams, but she followed me to open mic night at bar. I asked her about joining a D&D gaming group on that evening at the museum, but she never offered any help. I replay that evening over and over in my mind. It was the best night I've had in decades, but I messed it up somehow. OP is one of the few women I have found attractive who has been open to touch in my entire life. She gave me a hug once at a karaoke night, and again that time she followed me to bar. I conversed with her in person only once more after that. The OP has a very different view of that night, and says she only gave him a hug because she'd been drinking and didn't want to seem rude. And says she's not open to being touched by him at all. Bringing up the time he got a hug. Now that sounds like something an almost 50-year-old man should be hung up on. At the Scandinavian Festival in June as mentioned above. Perhaps it's the rarity of physical touch that makes it so influential on me. I made her an offer that in whatever future endeavors she attempts, that if she ever really needs help, to feel free to reach out. I will not mistake her economic or security needs for romantic interest, and while I am not sure if I can ever truly set aside my attraction to her, I can at least behave professionally. When I speak of attraction, it's not just physical. OP is quite beautiful, but it is her curiosity, ambition, intelligence, open-mindedness, and attitude I find most appealing. You know, I somehow get the feeling what he finds most appealing is her age. Let me know if you agree here. Curiosity and open-mindedness sounds like things Lucas would talk about. And I love her for it, because I feel like I can be honest with her in a way that I've never been comfortable with anyone else before. Not my siblings, blank or blank. Not you, not blank or blank. When she became cold to me, I tried to exile myself to try and forget her. It didn't work, and I got some bad advice and left her 2 regrettable messages. The first one I deleted and have no way of recovering, but I told her about how I rated her as an 87.5% perfect match with what I do know. And a bunch of other stuff about the difficulties in my relationship with you and how I felt undesirable. Her response to that was only, "Oh no, dude, don't rate women." I responded with another long diatribe. I was attempting a style of exchange recommended by that bad dating advice coach. I am pretty sure it had the opposite effect of my hope. Also, it wasn't the way I like to talk. I called her a babe though. I meant it too. I wish she was my babe. I also wish I could forget her and move on. I love OP. I love her in a way that I don't recall having loved anyone before. Not blank, not blank, not you, not blank, none of the others mentioned here. I sang a 9-song set in karaoke about her. I didn't announce it to the crowd, but every song was dedicated to her. Wait, the people at karaoke had to put up with 9 love songs from this guy dedicated to a woman he barely knows? That sounds fun. The ex-wife must be glad they're not married anymore after reading this crap. Here's the text to my second message to her after my self-imposed exile. I don't remember all the specifics, but this message took up most of a video for me, so it must have been pretty crazy. I sent 3 more messages to OP after waiting 2 months. I really screwed up any chance with her, but I can't help feeling bad about it. I'm usually too reserved to be very blunt on sexual topics, but I also felt I could open up to OP, even though she never reciprocated. Up until June, in texts, she made me feel like she was listening and really cared. My biggest concern is that dealing with leaving you, wife, I am trying to tell myself that I am not interested in a long-term romantic relationship or exclusivity. That's not strictly true. I just don't want it with the wrong person. So far, OP is the only woman I can remember meeting that I do want such a relationship with. Consciously and logically, I know it won't happen, but my subconscious dreams and my emotional reactions to seeing her around town are not so easily convinced. Wow, what a dick. He has no real reason to tell this to her. And I'm starting to think he's just paranoid in general and blames the army for it personally. In any case, I have been awkwardly flirting with various women for a year, and have ineffectively pursued the ones I mentioned above who I find attractive in at least one of my metrics, in the hope of finding compatibility in the others. I'm getting no reciprocation. None have shown they are really into it. I feel like my awkward attempts at flirting and asking them out have just made them uncomfortable, or worse, creeped out. I'm still looking for a relationship that comes naturally. If I always have to initiate, then it makes me feel like people are just putting up with it rather than enjoying it. Since expanding the business to blank, I have tasted freedom from dread and shame. To wake up 5 minutes before I have to leave without being called lazy for it. To do my dishes my way, to clean my floors, to organize my cabinets, etc., without being chastised for how I do it. To stay up late reading something interesting without complaints that I'm disturbing you or that I'm not operating on your timeline. If I read in bed, it's disturbing you. If I go out to the couch, it's either not spending time with you or not getting enough sleep. It's my body. If I'm tired, I'll sleep. If I'm not, I'll do something productive like reading. And there is the sexual disappointment. For the last 20 years, you've treated sex like a reward I only get for perfection, and I'm so rarely perfect enough that 3 or 4 times a year was normal for most of our marriage. Suddenly you now claim to have sexual needs when I am not home, but it feels like manipulation to try and tie me down again. If I come back to you to stay, it will go back to the way it was, and I'll still be overwhelmed with anxiety about your reaction to anything I do or don't do. I could go on and on about my unhappiness in our marriage. Do you really want me to go over every detail about why I don't want to be with you in marriage? I have a feeling she probably doesn't want him airing their dirty laundry to his crush in the first place. He's doing the right thing by getting divorced, of course. Sounds like these people really can't stand each other. I know we can't just take him as a reliable narrator, but if he is, it sounds like a pretty shitty marriage. Let me know what you think, but that is about all the time I have for you today. People should let me know if they want to hear the rest of this. It's not going to take a million parts like the other one. Probably just one more. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you have something to say about the story, or about my content in general, make sure to let me hear it in the comments, so I'll be reading them while the video's new. If you're new here, consider subscribing for more of the same, and whatever else I feel like talking about. And finally, big thanks to my awesome patrons who help support me more directly over on Patreon. It really helps out with January's shitty ad rates, am I right? I'll be back soon. Have a great day, everyone, and try not to hit on the employees at Home Depot too much.